Hello, friends. Welcome to the LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherry.
Sherry Beth, what episode is this?
Number 49.
Episode 49, but it's our first episode in a month.
Yes.
You guys, if you've been listening, you know that we took the month of December off, started this podcast a year ago, January 2021, and we decided to kind of give ourselves a little bit of a break over the month of December.
Yeah, because we were doing Vlogmas, we were uploading a video every day. We just felt like a video and a podcast on Saturdays was just a lot.
We were like, you know what? They're going to get sick of us.
We're going to get sick of us.
We're going to get sick of us. But we are back, and here's what I will say. A couple things happened over the break for me. Number one, I realized how much I freaking love recording the podcast.
Same.
Like, I genuinely missed this.
I missed it, yeah.
But also, we sat down and thought of some podcast topics and ideas for 2022.
Yeah, we did.
And Sherry, how are you feeling? Just going into 2022, knowing the things we talked about, how are you feeling?
I'm so excited. We have some really good, exciting topics.
And a wide variety of things that are like serious, but things that are just like super funny. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be, I just think it's going to be so amazing.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
But the topic that we decided to come back with is a unique one, because some people are probably like, oh, well, the Legs started the podcast a year ago talking about like New Year's resolutions. Mm-hmm. So clearly that's what we're going to do this time.
Nope.
And we have decided to do something different.
Yeah. Well, and this idea has actually been on our list for a long time.
Completely.
I don't remember when we talked about it, but I think it was in like an Instagram live. Somebody was like, I don't remember. I think we were joking about it, and then I was like, nope, I'm adding it to the list. We need to do this.
I do think it started out as like a kind of like a ha-ha thing.
Yeah. But like the more we thought about it, we were like,
and we were actually going to do it this last year.
Yeah.
And didn't happen. And so I was thinking about what's the episode we want to come back with. And I thought, you know what, Sherry and I, we're feeling something, aren't we?
We're feeling it.
What are we feeling?
22.
And so today we're talking about Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh. You guys, this is our Taylor Swift podcast. We're going to talk about how we are both Swifties, kind of our love for Taylor, the times we've seen her in concert, some of our favorite memories. And here's what I want to say from the beginning. This is so ridiculous. This is what's nice about having your own podcast. You can talk about anything you want.
Whatever the hell you want.
Whatever you want. Yep. And one of the things that I love is that even in the lead up to this podcast, as we've started talking about this, we just have had so much fun.
Yes. Even over dinner tonight, like we were taking notes to kind of be able to, keep our thoughts in order a little bit. And even just like over dinner, it was just like, this is so fun. Like, I'm so excited. And I feel like we could talk about this for hours, but we're gonna try to limit it a little bit
to a single hour or less. So we're not gonna there's not a lot of structure to this podcast. What we kind of wanted to be was just like two people who happen to both love Taylor Swift having a conversation about one of their favorite topics.
Right. But
I do want to start with sort of our Taylor origin story. Like, where did you first hear of Taylor? Like, where did kind of this fandom start? So for you, tell me, Sherry, Taylor Swift, where did it start?
I have a very specific memory.
I was very impressed by this.
Right. So I don't listen to a lot of country. And so I didn't hear her country songs that were on the country station because I didn't really listen to that. So when Love Story came out, I very distinctly remember driving to work in the morning.
What you were doing.
Yeah, and Love Story came on the radio, and I remember thinking, ooh, I like this song. And I listened to the whole song, and I was like, I like this girl. And I think that I heard it a couple of times, and I was like, okay, like I'm going to look this girl up because I love this song. Yep. And, yeah, I mean, it's always anything having to do with princesses and castle, like it's gonna be me 100%. Anyway. So like I just fell in love with the song and her voice, and I was just like, okay, like I need to figure out who this girl is. And so I start digging, and obviously like, oh, she has a whole other album out, and I've never heard because I don't listen to country. So I think that I even came home and I was like, you have to hear this song. And you're like, oh yeah, that's Taylor Swift. And I was like, who?
Yeah, because I had been a Taylor Swift fan since before that, because I am a country music fan. I do listen to country music. And so the first Taylor Swift song I ever heard was a song called Tim McGraw. And it's interesting because I don't necessarily remember where I was like you, but I remember hearing it and thinking it was a Tim McGraw song because of like the title. And I've always loved Tim McGraw. I've seen Tim McGraw in concert. Like, he's one of my favorite all-time country artists. And then being like, wait, this is not a Tim McGraw song. This is a song about Tim McGraw. Right. And I just remember listening and being like, okay, this is dope. Like, this was so good.
Yeah.
And just kind of like loving this like young new country star from then. And then obviously we've watched her career transform and morph and all that stuff so many times.
Right. Explode.
Completely. And we'll talk about like the different phases of Taylor throughout the podcast. But one of the things I want to talk about, Sherry, from the beginning is some experiences that you and I have had with Taylor, and tens of thousands of other people
Right.
that honestly, for me, solidified my fandom for her.
Yeah.
We've had the opportunity to see her live twice.
Yep.
Both times genuinely unbelievable.
Amazing.
So the first time we got to see her was actually during her Red tour.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about set the stage for that.
Okay, so
I'm just I'm so happy right now.
I'm so excited. Nerding out a little bit. So you actually bought me tickets to see her in concert, and you gave me the tickets on Valentine's Day.
It was a Valentine's Day gift.
And I don't remember what year that was, whatever year Red was touring. And then I think we went in, I don't remember, May or so, and actually saw her. I think I cried. I think like you handed me this envelope and I was like, what is this? And I opened it and I was like, oh my gosh, you're taking me to see Taylor Swift. One of the best gifts you've ever given me. And so like we made a whole weekend out of it.
Well, and here, quick pause. This is a gift that it's really weird because to me, I thought it was either going to be a home run or like a single. Like, I knew you loved Taylor Swift, but you normally are not a big concert fan.
No.
And I knew that, a Taylor Swift concert would be loud. It would be a ton of people. It would be very overwhelming. And so in some ways, like, even though you love Taylor Swift, I didn't know if you would love a live Taylor Swift experience.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is that, so that's true. I don't usually like concerts. I feel like we go to so many concerts for somebody who doesn't like going to concerts, but
yet still only a fraction of the ones I would go
to.
to.
Gracious sakes. But we've been to, a lot of really big concerts, and hers is easily top 5, probably top 3.
Without a doubt. Red. I want to talk about what you just said, but I want to talk about after we set the rest of the stage.
Okay.
And I'm giddy to get into this.
Okay, set the stage.
Okay, so it was in Tacoma, Washington, at the Tacoma Dome.
Yep.
And so, obviously, Taylor Swift is the draw. But before Taylor...
Yeah, she had 2 opening acts.
And the first one was...
Casey James.
From American Idol.
He was a country music singer from American Idol.
Yep.
And I forget how far he made it. He didn't win, but he made it pretty far.
Like, he was
We knew who he was.
Good way to put it.
Yep.
And he was fine. I mean, I'm just be honest, he was fine.
He was okay.
A good opening act.
Sure. But then this guy who had, I think, 2 singles out at the time.
Barely starting to get known.
It was, honestly, we looked him up because he was opening, and we were like, who is this dude?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that I had heard one of his songs before then, but I didn't. He was not the household name that he is today.
No.
Who was it?
Ed Sheeran.
What the poop?
Freaking Ed Sheeran.
Okay, and here's what we got to talk about. So this concert sparked 2 loves for me. Number 1 love is the live Taylor Swift experience, which again I'll talk about in a minute. Number 2 was an absolute musical man crush that I have on Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Because what he did in that arena was so fascinating to me. He did not have a full band. It was him, his guitar, and his loop machine.
Right.
And there were, I don't know, probably 25,000 people there, whatever the Tacoma Dome holds. And he had every person in the arena, like... Riveted with what he did.
And the people that were there for the big, crazy show that Taylor was about to put on.
Yeah.
Were completely enraptured by this English dude with a guitar and a loop machine.
That's what was so fascinating about it to me.
Right.
Is that everyone was there for the over-the-top spectacle that is Taylor Swift live. Yet dude walks on stage with a guitar, and he had us all, as we were putty in his hands.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I have, since then, I have purchased every single thing that he's ever done because he's freaking amazing.
From that moment, you and I were both
fell in love.
It was like, we're huge Ed Sheeran fans.
Yep.
Like right now.
And I will say that is one of the things that I love about her because she seems to have these opening acts that are up and coming. And like kind of nobodies at the time, but
she lends her platform to people that she I think believes in.
And they explode because they are in front of her crowd.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And her people are so loyal. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. So Casey James, great, fine. Ed Sheeran blew us away.
Right.
Fans for life. But let's talk Taylor.
Let's talk Taylor.
So when we left that show, and as Sherry mentioned, we've seen lots of concerts. I mean, big time rock shows, some of the biggest bands and artists in the history of music.
Yep.
Yet when Red was over, I remember the first thought, we talked about this leaving, it was just like, what did we just watch?
What was that?
Because
in a good way.
In a great way.
In an amazing, like, how did we just see all of that? How did she do all of that?
And it was like, did I just watch a Broadway show? Or did I just watch a rock concert? Or did I just watch, like, what did I just see? Because it was a mix. It
was all of it.
That was the thing, is that
all of the things.
She tied all of that stuff together into this unbelievable performance and this unbelievable, like, spectacle.
Right.
That just was, it was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And so it was that kind of thing where I remember thinking, like, this will not be the last time we see her live.
Right.
It was too good to not see her live again.
Agreed.
And then we got to see her live again.
For 1989.
For the 1989 tour, it was at the stadium where the Seahawks play, so even bigger, like 60,000+ people. And for this concert, we had great seats.
We had really good seats for this.
We were right down on the floor. I don't even remember how many seats from the stage, or rows from the stage, but not many.
Not many. I think, I want to say 8.
It was
or
crazy.
10 from the stage.
How I got those seats, I still don't remember.
I have no idea.
Tell us some highlights from that show for you.
Well, I know what yours is.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
I think, oh man, our seats were amazing. We have a picture of, so she had like this big swinging stage.
Yep.
Like
had like a big arm that kind of went over the crowd.
Arm that kind of went out over the crowd. And there's a point where she's in that and she's singing and like she's 10 feet away from us.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I was losing my mind.
I don't know that I've had a concert experience like that one. Partly because I've never gone to a concert that big and been that close, like, and feeling like you're in the middle of something.
Right.
So my moment. Don't do this, Sherry.
No, I'm gonna.
Don't do this.
I'm gonna.
And this is really funny. Actually, some of you guys
has nothing to do with the concert itself.
Has nothing to do with the concert itself. So I do want to actually preface this by saying we actually vlogged this concert.
Yeah.
And we posted the video. And the video started to do really, really well. But then we received like a cease and desist letter from Big Machine Records because the concert vlog had like a lot of music in it, and we had to take it down.
It wasn't even like we're just going to take the monetization like Disney does. Like it was like take it down or we will sue. Oh, okay, so we took it down. Yeah, we did have a vlog on it. Okay, so tell us about your best part.
So one of the things that Taylor is known for. Is like special guests in concerts. Like other musicians and just like friends of friends. She's freaking Taylor Swift. She knows everybody.
Right.
And so when you go to a Taylor Swift concert, you never know who you're going to see.
Right.
Right. And so now one of the things is when you go to a show, it's almost like, oh my gosh, who's going to be here?
Who's she going to invite?
Who's she going to invite? And so going to Seattle, there's a ton of people she could have invited. A lot of people were like, oh my God, I heard Macklemore's here.
Right.
Right. It's like nobody knew who it was going to be. And so I'm getting so like giddy thinking about it.
I remember this.
And so Taylor's out and she brings out Sierra and Russell Wilson. And you guys, so I was vlogging
Adam
this.
lost it.
The loudest squeal in the entire Taylor Swift video that we filmed was not anything to do with Taylor Swift. It was when she brought out Russ and Sierra.
Wilson.
And I just my voice went really high. And I got really excited. And so that was so cool just to get to see them there. But then one of the things that was so funny to me, and this is another thing I love about Taylor, is just her appreciation and willingness to help artists across lots of genres.
Yep.
Because she also brought out another guest during this concert. And this is one of the most... It's one of the most random things ever. Because her guests are like Selena Gomez. And you know what I mean? Like
right.
really well-known friends.
Andy Grammer.
Andy Grammer,
right.
like musicians. And she was just like, and now I want to welcome to the stage Fetty Wap. And it was so funny because like I stopped and Sharon and I looked at each other and I was like, I don't know who Fetty Wap is. Well, apparently Fetty was, and I call him Fetty now because obviously I know who he is. Was an artist who had like one song out that at the time it was kind of blowing up. But it was just such a funny random thing because in the audience, there were like a lot of younger kids who knew who Fetty was and they were just like so excited. But then there were a lot of Taylor fans like our age that were like, Who? What? Fetty Wap? Where's Macklemore? Like what's going on? And so that was just such a cool experience. And that concert for me was just, it was just so spectacular. It was just so freaking good. And at that concert, when we talked about Ed Sheeran and Casey James, this concert we also got to see a pretty amazing opening lineup.
Yeah.
So the first artist,
Shawn Mendes,
was Shawn frickin' Mendes.
And on his 17th birthday.
We all sang him happy birthday.
17th. He was 17.
When we saw him.
What?
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking, holy crap. Like, this kid, his entire life is changing right this second. He's 17 today, and he's on tour with Taylor Swift.
And I actually, so the other artist who opened was
Vance Joy.
So I'm gonna use this platform we have right now to make a public apology to you, Sherry, and I want to admit that you were right. So before the concert, you know, Shawn Mendes, actually, before the concert, Vance Joy was a bigger name than Shawn Mendes was. Mm-hmm. Didn't really know who he was. He was still very much coming out. He was much more popular online than he was, like, in commercial radio. But Vance Joy had kind of a commercial radio hit. He had one, but it was, like, a big hit.
Yeah.
And he had, like, a pretty unique, kind of cool, seemingly fresh sound. And I remember thinking, like, Vance Joy is going to be a much bigger star than Shawn Mendes is.
And I was like, nah.
And you're like, no, Shawn Mendes is
going to blow up because look at this kid. He's 17.
He's adorable. He has an amazing voice.
He's got an amazing voice. He came out and did so many crazy things. And then Vance Joy also came out. He was also there.
But here's the thing. Vance Joy was really good. Oh my gosh. We're not going to make this a Vance Joy podcast, Sherry.
I know, but...
I'm sorry, because you were right. Shawn Mendes had the career that blew up.
Yeah.
And I literally don't know what restaurant Vance Joy is working in right now.
I mean, he had his one big hit, and good for him.
Riptide.
Sure.
That's a great song.
It's a great song.
That's a great song. I'm so bummed that more didn't happen with his career.
You know what's funny? Why I didn't like him? We're gonna go a little aside for just a second. No. What I didn't like about him is he sings weird. I couldn't watch him sing. Visually? Like, he reminded me of John Mayer. Have you ever seen John Mayer sing? I was just going to
ask that question. Okay.
Like, it's just awkward. Like, he's weird when he sings. He makes weird facial expressions. He does weird things with his mouth. And I'm just like, I can't watch you sing. If I close my eyes, you're decent. But, like, if I'm watching you, you're terrible. Please stop. That's where I was. So if you were to, like, listening to a Vance Joy album, you're great with? Yeah, I mean, I don't love his music, but I don't mind it. I'll listen to it. We own one, like that one. But it's just, I can't watch him. Fair. So getting back to the topic. Back to the actual Taylor Swift. Maybe we should do another podcast topic about Taylor Swift opening acts, where we just like deep dive on them. So we saw Red, we saw 1989. Huge fans of both of those. But there's some things that we love about Taylor outside of just like the live experience. And the other thing I will say is
I think both you and I would agree that if you have the chance to see Taylor Swift live, go.
Do it. Do it.
We 100% would go see her live. In fact, we wanted to go to the, what were they called?
The Loverfest?
Loverfest that she was planning on doing, like, pre-COVID.
Right.
And then COVID, thanks for ruining Loverfest.
Right.
And so we would see her again. It's a truly unbelievable show.
Yes.
Truly unbelievable.
She oozes stage presence.
Completely.
But not in like a weird, obnoxious way. Like she's still so relatable. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like she owns the stage, but she also just seems like she could just be your best friend.
Why aren't we best friends with Taylor?
I mean, I know.
Is it just because our paths haven't crossed? Because I feel like she would like us.
I think so.
We're good people.
We're good people.
I feel like she would leave and be like, you know what? They're my best friends I've ever had. You know what? I'm going to remove...
We can dream.
100%, Sherry. Let me dream. Don't crush this for me.
Okay.
This is my 2022 resolution. Become best friends with Taylor Swift. So we love her live concerts.
Yes.
But there are other things that we just like really love about her. And one of the things that you love about Taylor has to do with like the music she makes.
Music. She, to me, is one of the best storytellers. She sucks you right into into the music. And one of the things that I really love about her, and I don't think we put this in our notes, but her music videos are exactly what I want them to be.
Interesting.
She's telling a story, and so she tells the story in her music videos. And it drives me crazy when there's like a beautiful song with beautiful story, and then they try to make it all abstract and weird and creative. I'm just like, just stop. Like, just tell the damn story. Your song is good as it is. Like, you don't need to make it all this over the top weirdness. Yeah. And she doesn't do that in her videos. Like, she tells the story. She tells the story,
and then the video, and it fits. Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely.
Right. So, but to me, she's just one of the best storytellers, and I just feel like I connect with her songs in a way that... So at dinner, I said, I feel like she read my diary and then wrote songs.
Yeah.
And Adam's like, wait, do you feel like she read your diary or like you're reading hers? And I was like, oh, well, both.
Yeah.
Both. And I just, like, obviously she doesn't know my ex-boyfriends or whatever, but like, I feel she wrote...
You had ex-boyfriends?
You know? But I feel like she wrote songs about them. And like, I hear a song and I'm like, oh, that's obviously about... this guy.
So that's one of the things that I love about her. As we were at dinner talking about this, when Sherry said that, I was like, that's what I love, is that when I listen to Taylor Swift, I feel like I could listen to her in any season, mood, moment of life. There's a Taylor Swift song or album that fits.
Yeah.
Like, your heart is broken. Well, there's a lot of that. There's a whole bunch of that. Mm-hmm. But like, whether I'm incredibly happy and going out with friends and I want something that just like is energetic and fun, there's that. If I'm feeling melancholy, there's that. If I'm feeling heartbroken, there's that. If I'm feeling optimistic and hopeful, there's that. And it's just so unique that there is a Taylor, it sounds so cheesy. There is a Taylor Swift for like every situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's so amazing.
It's amazing. And one of the things I think that people don't really appreciate about her, that I fully appreciate about her, is that she has been able to adapt and change her music style as she grows. And so, you know, I think that, you know, when her first album came out when she was, 16, 17, something like that.
If that, yeah.
If that, or I guess her first one came out before that.
Well, yeah.
So you know, she's been around making music for like almost 20 years. And so I think, you know, if you're still doing the exact same thing as you were 20 years ago, you're not growing as a person. And I appreciate that she's growing and she's adapting and she's been able to kind of change her music style to suit the times, I think, and to suit her current life experiences.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is I don't even know that it's so much her changing her music style to suit her times as much as it is her music style reflecting whatever her life season was.
Right.
You know, and it's one of the things that's so unique about her is that she was this young country, like, teenager, and then, like, you skip forward all the way to, like, Reputation, where all of a sudden she is this, like, angry, heartbroken, like, dark kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, wait, what is that? And then, like, you go to, like, Evermore and Folklore, and it's like, wait, how are all of that the same person? And
Right.
we didn't even get into like the whole pop Taylor,
Right.
and so it's so fascinating to me, not only that she's been able to do all of those, but that she's been able to do all of those, be successful, have hits, yet still like be Taylor Swift.
She stays true to herself in all of it. Like they all, and so I have like a playlist on my phone of all of her music, and I can just hit shuffle and it all sounds like her. Like it goes from Tim McGraw to Reputation, and it's still her. Like it's just different phases of life for her.
And what's interesting to me is that now she doesn't write all of her own music exclusively by herself.
Right.
Yet what's interesting to me is that when she brings in even other voices to help in that process, a lot of what comes out of it is still Taylor Swift.
Right.
You know? And so it's just that's so fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Taylor is just holy cow. One of the things that's so crazy to me is the power she has over us.
Right.
Because let me just put this in perspective, you guys. I'm a 41-year-old, bearded, married, Alaskan male. Mm-hmm. I loathe Jake Gyllenhaal.
You sure do.
What? Why? Because Taylor
we've all seen the music video.
Because Taylor told me to.
We all heard All Too Well.
Because Taylor told me to.
Right.
Is there another artist that I don't like somebody because they told me to? Maybe. I don't know.
And you know what's funny is that she's never said, don't like Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, we just don't
Ever.
know.
She's never said those words.
You son of a
bitch. She wrote a 10-minute song all about what a trash human he is.
But here's the thing. This is one of the things I want to say. Like, because the 10-minute song is very new.
Right.
Like, the video and the song, that's new. This hatred for Jake Gyllenhaal goes back years.
Right.
If you're a true Swiftie, All Too Well, yes, is like blowing up now, but there are those of us who years ago knew that was, in my opinion, the greatest song she had ever written. In fact, I read an article. Oh gosh, this was a while ago.
When Red came out.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. And it was basically like somebody in the music industry talking about why they defend Taylor Swift. And what they said is that when people like start talking about like, oh, Taylor doesn't deserve this, she's not really a great songwriter, she's not all this stuff. This person they interviewed was just like, I show them All Too Well, and I'm just like, this is musically and like lyrically, this is a masterclass. Mm-hmm. This is unbelievable. That is the pinnacle of her. And so yes, All Too Well has blown up over the last since like Red's re-release. But stay strong, those of us who have hated Jake for much longer than that. Jake, we're coming for you.
Oh,
also,
gosh.
One of my favorite things, this was so ridiculous. When Red came, because it's so dumb, it's so petty, and it makes me so happy.
It's petty in the best way.
Like when the music video for the 10-minute version was released, if you went to Jake's Instagram and you read his comments, it was so funny because it was people just being like, give the scarf back, Jake. Like, why didn't you show up for her 21st birthday? Like, you made her cry, Jake. And it was just like...
And it was just like a random, like his post about a movie or something. Like, it had nothing to do, like he didn't post obviously anything about the album. But it was everybody commenting on his random post from 2 weeks prior. That it was really funny. Like,
so
Swifties
ridiculous.
showed up en masse.
And that's the thing is like her audience, her like community that she's created, mm-hmm. people feel so loyal to her. People feel so connected to her. Like it is, don't piss off the Swifties. Like they will come for you like hardcore.
Yep.
One of the reasons I think that is why her audience is so loyal is that she has done things to cultivate that. And I think about like her intentionality in everything she does. So Taylor's one of those people that like, it feels like nothing is random.
No, every single detail is thought about and executed like intentionally.
And like her people know that.
Yeah.
And I remember Sherry like for years, every Taylor Swift album, like her thing was like capitalizing certain letters and songs
and putting like hidden messages
in there. And you like, tell us what you would do with all that stuff.
I was 100% the person like laying out the whole liner notes on the kitchen table and like writing down all of the letters and figuring out the secret code, because every song, it like there was a code and it had to do either with who the song was about or just random fun facts about the song or just whatever. Like every song had its own little like secret code.
And
it was amazing.
It was funny because it was like...
Down to, like, the acknowledgements. Like, the acknowledgements had codes.
Do you guys remember in, like, old cereal boxes when they'd be like, get your, like, secret decoder kit? Like, that's what it was like for you.
Yeah.
It was like, oh,
Absolutely.
I got to decode this album. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What other artists are you decoding albums for?
What other artist was doing that?
That's a good point. And that's what I mean is that by her doing that, she created more than just people who liked her music. There were people who actually were engaging with her and stuff. She was giving people a way to engage and to, like, participate.
Right.
And that normally doesn't happen.
Right.
And so now there's just, like, this army of crazy fans. So we've seen a lot of, like, Taylor Swifts. We talked about this earlier. Like, from Evermore and Folklore to Reputation, all the way back to country and pop stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't even mean this next question musically. When you think of, like, what the next season is for Taylor, like, kind of the next Taylor Swift, what do you hope to see? What would you like to see?
I love Folklore.
Yeah.
And Evermore. I would love to see her press a little bit more into that. They're so well written. And I would love to see something like that. Personally in her life, I'm just gonna pretend I'm her best friend right now. I would love to see her and Joe get married and start having babies.
Yeah.
Because I think that she could write the best lullabies.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
Gosh.
An album of songs that she wrote for her child.
Oh, stop.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. Like, that's... and I don't know, like, I feel like artists kind of do that once in a while. Like, when they have a baby, they release an album that has all to do with the baby. And I tend to not buy them because they're boring. But I think that she would kill it. I think that her viewpoint on that whole process would be just amazing.
God, that...
Because she's such a good storyteller.
What an answer. Like, what an answer that is. Just so you guys know, we did not discuss that answer before.
Right.
And Sherry just blew my mind because now that's all that I want. But I do want to say something because you talked about her getting married.
Yes, I talked to her and Joe.
Talk about her and Joe.
Yeah.
And here's what I want to say. I want to say I am so unbelievably happy that she seems happy.
Yes.
Right? Through everything, all of the dating, the not dating, whatever was true or wasn't true, I am just so happy that she's happy. But hear me out, you guys.
Adam has a little bit of a wishful thinking.
If I was writing this
scenario
script, if this was a movie, there's a person that I so badly wanted her to end up with.
Yeah.
And
at the time.
Now
I can't really see them together.
I don't know. See, that's the thing that I love is that I think maybe. So one of my very, very favorite Taylor Swift songs. Mm-hmm. Sherry, you know what it is?
Yes.
What is it?
Enchanted.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's on Wonderstruck. Yeah.
And it is so spectacular. And it is such a beautiful song. It's the story about her meeting somebody and just being like enchanted to meet him. Mm-hmm. And the story behind this song, and I remember the first time we heard who it was about being like, him? What?
But also, that makes sense.
So, how many of you guys remember Adam Young? Most of you will actually know him as Owl City, the song Fireflies. Mm-hmm. So, Adam is mostly like an electronic musician. Like, a lot of his stuff is very like digital. But this amazing, seemingly super nice, super quiet, super kind, but very quiet, very reserved.
Very whimsical,
socially awkward. And one of the things that I loved is that so Taylor Swift apparently met him and sort of like had a thing for him.
Right.
And they exchanged emails after this encounter. And one of the things that she said is that in their correspondence, he used words like enchanted and wonderstruck. And she said, I'd never heard anybody talk like that or use those words.
Right. Just in like normal conversation.
And so like, obviously she put those into like, she named her album that. She put those into that song. And the reason I so wanted them to get together, hear me out, is that guys like him don't ever get girls like her, yet you always want them to. because they're so socially awkward, but they are the best guys. Like everything that I've read, and granted, I mean, we all have skeletons in our closet. We all have stories that don't make it out to the public. So I don't know all of the stuff about him, but he seems like a very nice guy.
Yeah, and we saw him in concert too, and he, a very different experience than Taylor Swift. He is very just socially awkward, and he doesn't really have the stage presence, but man, can the dude sing. And he captures the audience in a completely different way because he is so enraptured with his own music.
Yeah.
That it's so fun to watch him.
He gets lost in what he's creating.
Yes.
Yeah, I think is how I describe that. It's just amazing. But to me, the thought of like this Taylor Swift, this beautiful, like superstar, biggest artist in the world, falling for this incredibly kind and nice, like musician who loves music and loves her. Like to me, just like, oh, it's the story that I wanted. I know it didn't happen, but at least I got one of the best Taylor Swift songs ever out of it.
Sure.
And so I'm happy with that. I just, damn it.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
In that line, so she does write obviously a lot of songs about boys that she likes.
Yeah.
Boys that have hurt her. Another just boy that she liked song called Hey Steven.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember this story?
I do remember the story.
So cute. So she was on tour, and I don't remember the name of the band this guy was in, but she was touring with them, and his name was Steven, and when the album came out, she just texted him track 5.
Yeah.
That's all she said. And so he goes and listens to track 5, and it's called Hey Steven. And it's all about how she has this crush on him, and he'll never see her because she's not like the other girls, and blah, blah, blah. So he writes a response song.
Yeah, totally.
Which is a really cute song.
It is a cute song.
And so, yeah, I just love that. Like, just the back and forth of, songwriting like that. It just made my heart happy.
It's adorable. Like, I don't know of a better word. It's so freaking cute. It's like the equivalent of like passing notes in class.
Yeah.
But it's like,
But like they're way more talented than me, and they're not just like check yes or no. They're like, here's an
5.
entire song.
Track 5. Oh my gosh.
I love it so much.
Love it so much. So I do want to mention one thing, and we're starting to get a little bit closer to the end. Everything about Taylor Swift isn't wonderful.
Right, we don't love every single thing that she's ever done in her life.
In fact, for me, there is one lyric that
you take great offense to.
I take great offense to. This is an offensive lyric to me.
Yeah.
And every time I hear it, I'm just like, Taylor, no.
It's in the song Lover.
It is in the song Lover. Taylor, in the event you are listening, here's what I want to tell you, best friend. Here's what I want to tell you. We love you. Yes. We support you. We are Swifties for life. I don't think 41-year-old bearded Alaskan men are your demo, but you know what? You hooked one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got one.
Right.
But Taylor, you said that leave the Christmas lights up till January?
You can leave the lights up as long as you damn well please, girl.
No.
You don't have to take them down in January.
Why would you even take them down in January? That is way too early.
Right.
It should have been February or November. like Christmas lights are supposed to stay up through January.
Right.
They're not supposed to come down in
house.
January.
You make the rules.
It's your house. You make the rules. Leave them up until February or March or April. I don't care.
Right.
But January is too early.
Yeah, I agree.
Christmas lights should not be coming... Should not even be coming down in January.
They shouldn't be coming down before January. And so, like, having to write a song that you can leave them up until January, I'm just like, of course you can. You should be.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that to me is the one thing that I don't like about Taylor Swift. That one lyric in one song. And it makes me so angry.
You know what? One of the things that we were talking about was that she has never had any kind of very public breakdown.
Yeah.
She never had a Britney moment. She never had a, Miley moment. She has kept a good head on her shoulders. She had an angry album.
Yeah.
But I think that, it's not my favorite. It's probably my least favorite album of hers. But she had a right to be as angry as she was.
Yeah.
I think that album was influenced by all of the crap that she was getting.
Yeah.
From the media, from her label, from just everything. And she was also at the time dating Calvin Harris, who was very electronic and very
So that could have played into
right.
that.
And so that style, I think, yeah, I think Reputation was a miss, but she had every right to be as angry as she was. And I think that no, go ahead.
I don't know that Reputation was a miss because so when Reputation first came out, it was so different than anything we experienced before. It was hard for me to be like, oh yeah, this is totally Taylor and I love it. And so I was like, it's definitely not my favorite Taylor. But here's what I will say. I have gone back and listened to, even just in the last couple weeks, listened to all of Reputation. And I was like, there are some bangers on this. Like,
it's still very her.
Yeah, and it's still, not only is it still her, it's still a really good album.
I feel like she lost some of the storytelling for that album.
Interesting.
There's not as many stories, which is what I love about her writing. That the album itself tells a story, and then like each song is like a story, and I felt like this was just a lot of words.
Okay.
I don't dislike Reputation, but it's just my least favorite of hers.
Okay, that's fair. I get that.
Yeah.
So Sherry.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
She's
dang it.
So great.
I know, and I think I'm gonna get a little bit random here because these are random points that I wanted to talk about, but there's not really a good way to fit them in here. I love following her on Instagram because she always posts about her cats, and like she's so real, and she's so relatable, and I'm like, oh, yep, your cat's an asshole too. Like,
totally.
And she just talks about it, and she is like, what are you doing? This is not normal for cats. What are you doing? And I was like, I feel like we have that conversation with Missy 10 times a day.
100%.
And so it's so relatable, and she's so real, and so I wanted to talk about that, but then also, you didn't remember this, but before Instagram was really a big thing.
Oh yeah, I did forget this.
She was pretty big on Twitter.
Yeah. And like super active and everything.
And very active. And she live tweeted when she was reading through the Hunger Games for the first time. And it was like a highlight. And I think that she like blew through them in just a couple of days. But she was literally like, oh my gosh, you guys, what is happening? And like, and she's like, oh, this just happened. I have thoughts.
And so and you said you like kind of followed along on that whole journey. She was live tweeting this.
Yes. Yeah, because it was fascinating because I had read them and I was just like, yup. Oh, hang in there, girl. It's going to get worse. And then she, wrote a few songs inspired by the Hunger Games, and it was just, I don't know, like it was so fun for me to, and again, like she's so real. Like she's just, it's not, a publicist who is controlling her social media accounts. Like that was her live tweeting.
Yeah.
Her reactions to reading the Hunger Games, and I was just like, yes, girl.
It's her.
It's her.
And that's really cool.
And I just loved it.
Well, and I think that's also one of the things that, going back to what we talked about earlier, why people feel so connected and to her and why she's so relatable, is that she, like, people just, they feel like, I don't know, they feel like there's something they see in themselves or of themselves in her. Right? It's like us. Right. It's like, oh man, she loves her cats like we love Missy. Mm-hmm. Or she, you know what I mean, gets lost in this book and like freaks out over it the way that you do. Or, and so, right. Yeah.
She seems like just the girl next door who has just made it very big. But she just still feels like the girl next door. Like,
the house next door probably got bigger though.
Well, sure. Right.
She got some money now.
Right. Correct.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Any other things you wanted to?
Oh, probably.
Like, probably you just can't think of any?
I mean, honestly, and it's bordering on like unhealthy, but I adore her.
It's bordering on unhealthy.
I know.
Well, great. Now she's going to hear this and be like, well, I'm not going to hang out with him now. You just lost our chance to be her best friends.
Oh, no.
Crap.
I'm sorry. She, honestly, I just feel like she is somebody, she's 8 years younger than me, but she's somebody I look up to. I think the way that she handles herself, the way that she handles really hard situations, is something to be admired.
Yeah, I agree. We watched the documentary, and I don't remember what it was called. I think it was on Netflix, of her. Mm-hmm. And like Girl Next Door or something like that. Girl America. I don't know. Something
I don't remember.
Weird. But I remember watching that and really liking it.
Yeah.
just how great she was.
Yeah.
That you got to see sort of this real person behind the superstar. And I remember watching that thinking, oh man, this is better than I expected.
Yeah.
So there you go, friends. That is our Taylor Swift episode.
Yeah, it was originally going to be like a Taylor Swift tribute, and then we just decided it needed to be the first one for 2022 because we're feeling 22.
And we're like, you know what? We just want to talk about her. We don't want to have like a super structured thing. Let's just sit down and chit-chat about Tay-Tay. A chit-chat about Tay-Tay. I'm so proud of myself for that one.
Yep.
Sherry Beth, I love you, and I want to say thank you because when we go to Taylor Swift concerts, there's not a lot of dudes. Yet you always make me feel like I fit in there.
Well, and you know every word of every song. Of
course I do.
Of course you fit in.
So, I don't know. I love that this is a shared passion that we both have. That
I agree.
That when Red was released, it was just like, oh my God, we've got to order on vinyl. And then we got to listen to this. And then we got to do this. And we've got to lay in bed and watch the 10-minute music video. And we've got to do like...
Right. Well, and you know... And the fact that, and actually this is something else that we wanted to talk about, was the fact that she is re-releasing all of her albums, and we're like, obviously we're pre-ordering so that it drops the second that it's available into our iTunes, and we have it.
For albums that we already own.
For albums that we already own. Like, we're re-buying these albums.
Yeah.
Like, not even a thought. Like, I think it was just like I had texted you and I was like, hey, I pre-ordered this. And you're like, yes,
yeah,
of course.
Of course you did. Like, of course we're going to support her this way.
And can we talk about her vault songs for a second?
Let's do it. We can talk about whatever. It's our podcast.
I know. Holy crap. I know we were going to like wrap this up. The fact that all of her re-releases have all of these extra songs from the vault that are like complete albums in themselves. There's so many. Like, she has written so many songs, and there's like 30 songs on each of these re-releases because she has so many songs from the vault that she's releasing with these, and they're really good songs. And we're like, how did this not make it on the album? Oh, because you couldn't have 30 songs on an album.
Back then. Yeah.
And, you know, it's just like, they're so good. They're such good songs.
Yeah, and they're such good songs. And to me, it just proves that she's reached this level where she's like, you know what? I can do what I want and my people will support me.
Right.
What's that? We're going to release a 10-minute version? Of course we are. And it's going to blow up? Of course it is. And I'm going to put 30 songs on an album? Of course I am.
Right. Because I can. And people will buy it.
Because my people love me. Because I've created this bond with my like audience that is just, it exceeds whatever other artists can't do.
Right.
So cool.
I know. I love it so much.
Any other rabbit trails?
Oh, probably, but we can wrap it up.
All right, friends. We love you guys. So here's how this works. It's been a while. We want to hear from you. Are you a Swiftie?
Yeah.
Or are you not? And if you're not, what's wrong with you?
What is wrong with you? Let us know. So the way that we can communicate via podcast is on our LeggLife Podcast YouTube channel.
Sure can.
So go over there, just type in LeggLife Podcast, subscribe to that.
Yep.
And you can leave a comment about your favorite Taylor Swift song.
Moment, experience, concert, outfit, whatever you love the most
lipstick
about
shade.
Taylor. Ooh, lipstick shade. See, we can keep going.
Yeah, I know.
Perfume.
I know. Hairstyle.
Cat.
Ooh.
Whatever it is. So many options.
Do you like Meredith or Olivia or Benjamin Buttons?
I'm not even getting into that. I'm trying to make her be my best friend. If I choose a favorite, that's not going to end well. Friends, we love you guys so much. Again, as Sherry said, go over to YouTube, type in LeggLife Podcast, find this Taylor Swift episode, and leave your Taylor Swift comment over there.
Yep.
Fellow Swifties, thanks for sticking around. It is so nice to be back recording podcasts.
It's so fun. We've got some really fun things in store.
I cannot wait. You guys, we will see you next week, next Saturday, on the next LeggLife Podcast. Bye.
Bye.